These protests have continued for 7 consecutive nights, and they have turned deadly. According to government officials, at least 3 people have been killed. Witnesses in the region report the death toll to be more. As it is often the case here in Iran, it's very difficult to independently verify how many people have been killed and what caused their death. One, because of a lack of access to the region, and two, because of the conflicting reports coming from alleged witnesses and government officials. According to those government officials, 2 protesters were shot and killed earlier this week, 2 young men. Another protester was hit by a car and killed overnight Tuesday. This, according to another government official. All of these incidents taking place in Khuzestan province. This is a very oil-rich but drought-ridden and very hot region in southwestern Iran, bordering Iraq and the Persian Gulf. It has suffered through what some call the worst drought in 50 years. There's a lack of drinking water. There have been power cuts. Add to that Iran's battered economy, the unemployment, the inflation, and you have a lot of angry and frustrated people. Over the past few days, we've seen a number of amateur videos posted online showing the protests turning violent, protesters throwing rocks, setting fire to tires. We've also seen in those videos security forces firing their weapons. It's not clear what they're aiming at, but alleged witnesses say it's those security forces who killed those 2 protesters earlier this week. But government officials say no, it was the protesters themselves who shot and killed those 2 men. That's a claim that a lot of people who mistrust the Iranian government simply don't buy. One thing is clear, the protests are continuing. A lot of people anxious to see if it continues again tonight.
And Reza, as you're saying, these protests for the moment concentrated in the southwest of the country. Could they, though, spread further to elsewhere in Iran?
It's hard to say. They have the potential to spread. We've seen some video posted online of passengers on a subway, a metro, chanting government slogans. So they could spread, they could intensify. But the government security forces have become very adept at cracking down on these protests through violence, oftentimes cutting off the internet, which reports indicate that they're doing in southwestern province. But even if they crack down and stop these protests, observers say until and unless the government addresses the very real demands of basic needs for people in Khuzestan province, these problems and these protests are going to continue.
Reza Sayar for us there in Tehran. Thank you very much indeed.